Think about this for a second. You can't remember being born. You can't remember the first time your mom said your name. You can't remember tasting milk for the first time, or figuring out that those tiny fingers waving around in front of your face were actually yours. But here's the wild part. All of that happened. You were there. You were awake. You were feeling things, learning things, soaking up an entire world at a speed no adult brain could ever match. And then, poof, gone. For most of us, everything before age 3 is just missing. Maybe you've got one weird flash from age 4, a birthday cake, the smell of your grandma's house, a car ride somewhere. But the first chapter of your life, the most intense learning period your brain will ever go through, total silence. So where did it all go? Because look, this isn't like forgetting where you parked. This is your brain wiping out years of your actual existence. And for the longest time, scientists couldn't really explain it. But now, we've got answers. And they're honestly kind of mind-blowing. Let's start with the obvious question. Were you even conscious back then? Like, was there really anything worth remembering? Yeah, 100% yes. Babies aren't just little potatoes lying around absorbing light. They're alert. They're curious. Newborns can recognize their mom's voice within hours of being born. They actually heard it inside the womb. Within days, they start showing preferences. They react differently to familiar faces. They cry one way when they're hungry and a totally different way when they're scared. Somebody's home in there, a real person having real experiences. And yet, none of it sticks. Why? Here's the first big clue. Memory isn't what you think it is. You probably imagine memory like a video recording. Something happens, your brain hits record, and saves the clip for later, right? Wrong. Completely wrong. What actually happens is way messier. When something happens to you, different parts of your brain handle different pieces. The emotions go one place. The sights and sounds go somewhere else. The order of events, what happened first, what happened next, that gets stored in yet another spot. For you to actually remember something later, all those scattered pieces have to get linked together, stitched into one package. And that job? That's done by a part of your brain called the hippocampus. Think of the hippocampus as your brain's librarian. It takes all those scattered pieces of an experience and files them somewhere you can find them again. Here's the kicker. In babies, that librarian is basically still in training. The hippocampus isn't fully built yet. The neurons are there, sure, but the connections between them, the wiring that lets memories actually form, hasn't developed. And it keeps developing for years. So when a baby experiences something amazing or scary or joyful, it's like trying to record a video on a phone with no storage. The camera works, the microphone works, but there's nowhere for the file to save. That's part 1. But it's not the whole story. Because even by age 2 or 3, the hippocampus is way more developed. So why can't we remember those years either? This is where it gets even weirder. Your brain grows new neurons, not just when you're a kid, your whole life. For a long time, scientists thought we were born with all the brain cells we'd ever have. Turns out, nope. New ones get made all the time, especially in the hippocampus. Now, here's the twist. In little kids, this process is cranked up to 11. Babies and toddlers are growing new brain cells at a rate adults can't even come close to. And every single one of those new neurons has to find its place, wire itself in, connect to the network. That process, super disruptive. Imagine a library, but not a nice quiet one. Picture a chaotic library where workers are slamming up new shelves every single day. Books get moved around, sections get rebuilt. The whole filing system keeps changing. That's a toddler's brain. The very thing that makes little kids such insane learning machines, all those new neurons firing in, is the same thing that makes stable, long-term memories almost impossible. Your brain basically traded memory for learning speed. And honestly, worth it. But there's a third factor, and this one's the strangest of all. Language. I know, sounds obvious. Babies don't have words, so they can't have word-based memories. Right? It goes way deeper than that. When you remember something, like really remember it, you're kind of telling yourself a story. You're narrating it. I was at the park. The sun was out. My friend showed up. That little internal story, it needs language to exist. Babies have a sense of self. They know they exist, but it's a right now self. And I'm hungry, I'm cold, I see mom self. The kind of self that stretches back through time. The remember when I was little self, that one needs words to build. Without language, there's no story. Without a story, there's no narrator. And without a narrator, there's nobody to be the main character of the memory. And there's real evidence for this. Kids who pick up language later tend to have later first memories. Bilingual kids often remember early stuff best in the language they spoke at the time. Even kids who grew up with sign language show the same pattern. Words aren't just how you describe memories. They're part of how memories get built in the first place. So now we've got three things happening at once. An undeveloped hippocampus, a brain exploding with new neurons, and no language to hold the story together. Together, they wipe out the most important years of your life. But here's where it gets really interesting. Just because you can't remember those years doesn't mean they're gone. This is the part I want you to sit with. Everything that happened in those forgotten years left marks on you, deep ones. The kind that shape who you are right now, today, sitting wherever you're sitting. Did your caregivers come when you cried? Your nervous system learned, okay, the world is safe. Help shows up. That setting is still running in you. It's why some people stay calm under pressure. Were you left alone a lot? Inconsistently soothed? Your nervous system learned something else, not as a memory, as a default setting, a baseline for how safe the world feels. You can't remember any specific night. You can't point to the moment it happened, but it's in you. It's how you react when someone doesn't text back. It's why certain situations make you anxious for no clear reason. This is what psychologists call implicit memory, the kind that lives in your body and your reflexes, not your conscious mind. You forgot the experiences, but you kept the lessons. Now, let me hit you with something uncomfortable. Some of your earliest memories, they're probably fake, not exaggerated, not fuzzy, actually made up. Built by your brain from photos, family stories, and things people told you over and over until your brain went, yeah, sure, this counts as a memory. Researchers have proven you can implant completely false memories in people, stuff that never happened. And those fake memories feel exactly like real ones. So that earliest memory you've got, be honest, did you always have it? Or did someone show you a photo and tell you the story so many times that it just became yours? For most people, they can't actually tell. And that's wild. Because the you think you are is partly built on stories other people told you about yourself. Okay, last thing, and this one matters. Why do some people remember earlier than others? Culture plays a huge role. In families where parents talk a lot with their kids, hey, remember when we went to the beach? What did you see? Those kids develop earlier memories. Memory is partly a social skill. The more it's practiced out loud, the faster it develops. Then there's emotion. Really intense moments, fear, joy, surprise, sometimes leave traces even when normal memories don't. That's why you might feel weirdly anxious in a hospital or weirdly safe at the smell of a specific food. Your emotions remembered, even when the story didn't. So here's where we land. The first years of your life weren't wasted just because you can't remember them. They were the most important years you'll ever live. They built the foundation of everything you are right now. The way you love, the way you trust, the way you panic, the way you calm down. All of it has roots in years you can't access. You are literally built from experiences you'll never remember. And that's either terrifying or it's freeing. Terrifying because you can't go back and check the foundation. Freeing because there's no fixed story holding you in place. The patterns can change with time, with safe people, with new experiences that prove the old assumptions wrong. The memories are gone. But what they built, it's still here, sitting inside you, quietly running the show. You just don't get to see the receipts.